Hey folks, it's time for the quote of the day, and today we are going to be quoting for his birthday, without a doubt, one of the most important philosophers in modern history. Today is the birthday of Jean-Paul Sartre. Now, many of you may not know that name, but you absolutely can understand some of his concepts because this isn't a guy that was born, like I said, modern history. This isn't a guy that was born in antiquity. This isn't a guy that was born in the 1700s. This is a guy that was born in 1908, right? He died in, I want to say, 1980. I don't know, in that area. Now, what is important to understand about him before we get too deep into the quote and understanding, we need to establish some parameters for this video. I'm talking about existentialism here, particularly Sartre's version of existentialism, because there's a lot of different versions of it. To do this, you need to approach this video and this understanding knowing that his version of it basically says that God cannot exist. Okay, so this is going to be challenging for some folks that have faith, people of religion. This is going to be difficult because you have to look at it from that point of view. If you're not able to do that, this may not be the video for you, and that sucks because I think that there's a lot you could learn from it, but unfortunately, I have to approach it from that point of view. Now, that being said, if you follow me, if you watch my videos, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I agree with him on this. He and I think very much alike, and it's interesting because I have never really been a big reader of his work. I'm somebody who maybe it's I don't know. I have a hard time with the way that sometimes French writers like the cadence that they use, and so sometimes I'll find myself reading it, and my mind will wander. It's almost like a meditation practice where I have to refocus myself every time, and it makes it hard for me to ingest it. Now, that's just me personally. That's not to say that like I'm the example you should follow or anything. I'm just saying that if you haven't read Sartre's work, it is absolutely stunning and eye opening, and to a certain degree breathtaking if you start to ingest it a little bit. Now, what is existentialism? We have to have a baseline understanding of what that means, and how it's different than how a lot of other philosophers have thought. His version of existentialism basically states that existence uh, is there before essence. Okay, so let me try to break it down a little bit better for you. You have philosophers in the past, the Socrates and Aristotle's and things like that, and many to follow that had the idea that everything has an essence. Humans have an essence, the rock has an essence, a plant has an essence, animals have an essence, and so basically, if you want to kind of imagine it, an essence is there, and then the thing that it is kind of molded around that essence, and so you kind of carry this whatever it is inside of you, and this is what allows philosophy and God to exist at the same time, where you have God imbuing essence and then kind of creating like a master plan where everything kind of moves according to its essence. Like you have limited free will under that because you know that it's all part of God's plan. What Sartre puts forward is that existence comes first. We exist. We are born into existence, and then we have to grapple with what that means because there is no true innate is essence. We're not guided by any superpower above us. We're not guided by anything inside of us. We are what we make of ourselves. And I think that in today's world, that's a difficult pill for a lot of people to swallow because people have gotten more and more spiritual. People have gotten more and more into mysticism. People are more and more religious. People are more and more faith-based. People are constantly looking for answers outside of themselves. And very few people are willing to say, no, I don't need those answers out there because the answers that I need are in here. Right? Very few people are willing to do that. They say, well, it has to be existing out here because by myself, I'm fucking shit. I'm bullshit. And that's where, it's kind of Sartre's way of looking at it is kind of empowering to me, is because we are the exact representation of what we believe humanity is. For many, many years, I was, suicidally depressed and I didn't do anything. And so by that definition, you could say that the way that I lived my life was, the way that I believed because of the what I put into it. This is how humans existed. And there is something there, right? Like, I knew that wasn't right because I was sick in the head, but part of me, that part of me that wasn't sick would look at the malaise that had set in and the melancholy and say, well, this is just how all humans are. Like, this is our existence. And we all do that as individuals. We look at our own circumstances, we look at our own things, we look at the people around us, and we kind of project that onto the world around us. And this is one of the reasons why Sartre said that hell is other people, is because you're constantly, as you move through the world, having to grapple with everyone else's perceptions of not just you, but of the world around them. We're constantly having to move around, essentially, and knock into everyone else's bubble of reality and how they view the world and how they view you and how they view themselves. And this whole thing, it makes it very, very difficult. And that's one of the reasons why you see social media craze, ways of people of talking where they start pulling away. They start saying, well, it's about me, it's about this, it's about, all the things that I care about, and I'm the only thing that matters. You see this over and over and over again. Now, as far as the quote goes, you have to understand that what everything I just said there, and I had to actually pause because I really wanted to gather my thoughts on this. Because if you don't really understand the ideas of existentialism, if you don't understand that you exist first, and then what happens afterwards, and you don't understand this idea of kind of people bumping into each other, then this quote might not mean as much to you. So I really wanted to kind of gather it so I could explain it after I give it to you. Jean-Paul Sartre said, we only become what we are by the radical and deep-seated refusal of that which others have made us. Read that again. We only become what we are by the radical and deep-seated refusal of that which others have made us. The reason why this is important, and the reason why I absolutely love this quote, is because, like I said, we go through the world having to manage the perceptions of others. And whether we like it or not, there's this popular idea that if you just don't pay attention, that it doesn't fucking matter. That's not how anything works. People's perceptions of you influence everything around your life. Your job, your reason for existence is to impress your will of what you want in your life, how you want to show up, who you want to be. We are all responsible for what happens to us and our reactions and the way that we portray ourselves in the world. Whether people want to accept that or not, that's up to them. But it is up to us to take the way that other people think about us, to take the way that other people engage with us, to take the way that other people treat us, and turn it into what we want to be. That is an incredibly difficult thing for a lot of people, especially people that have been betrayed or people that have been, hurt in some way, people that have dealt with trauma, interpersonal trauma, whether it be with a romantic partner or a father or a mother, whatever it may be. This is a very difficult thing to understand, and a pill that is very, very jagged to swallow. But this is the truth. If you understand existentialism and you understand how we get here, this is the truth. You are responsible for what happens to you. I'm responsible for my way of seeing the world during my depression. Now, am I responsible for my depression? Not necessarily, because, there is an allowance made for mental issues, and, you have to understand that sometimes the way you see the world is because of that. But it is your responsibility to find your cures, to find your answers, to find, how you get through it. I think that right now there is a solid misunderstanding of what this all means, and people will often weaponize this way of talking to shoot down other people that are actively looking for help. And I think that that's a mistake that we make and something that we need to be aware of. We move through this world bumping into the bubbles of everyone else's existence, bumping into their perceptions and their realities. And it is only through very, very, as he put it, radical and deep-seated refusal that we are able to find ourselves and be who we are as individuals. And in that, you start to find a true magic, a true essence to life. Happy birthday to Jean-Paul Sartre. I love saying his name. Everybody else, please take care of yourselves. Take care of others. I'll talk to you soon.